So we're going to give you guys 3 things that you could do leading into 2025 to help you find the true love of your life. What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the Mentalist Pivotal Podcast. So let's get right into it. Today, we are going to talk about how to thrive in love in 2025 because a lot of people struggle with relationships. We have struggled with relationships, but yet here we are. So we're going to give you guys 3 things that you could do leading into 2025 to help you find the true love of your life, if you're looking for it.
If you're looking for it. All right. The number one thing that we know is important is putting yourself out there.
For sure.
It's not going to start any other way. So if you put yourself out there, number one, you can be more social. Meeting people is how you're going to get your true love. Okay. So that's what we did. That's what we know works. And when you put yourself out there, you're going to put yourself in different situations out of your comfort zone, mind you, which is important, to find the person that's right for you. You're not going to find your person staying in the house. I mean, unless you do dating apps or Instagram, which can work as well.
That does work.
But putting yourself out there is the number one thing you need to do, first and foremost, to find your partner.
I agree. The second most important thing you need to do if you're finding a partner, and I know it sounds super cliche, but love yourself first, ladies and gentlemen. You need to figure out who you are, what you like to do on your own, have your own individual personality so that you can attract what it is that you really want. If you don't ever take that time alone for your own self-care and to understand who you are, you're not going to find the right match for you. And that's just facts, honestly.
That's just facts. And also, too, standards going in that, too. It's like once you have that self-love just down pat, it's like your standards just will naturally come. So once you love yourself, standards get higher. And, yeah, I mean, it's all uphill from there. So number 3, in terms of finding your true love, is being patient. There's no right timeline or right time frame in terms of finding your love, finding your partner, finding your match. It could take years. It could take 1 year. It could be quick. But for us, it took, we have not been dating for years, but like before this relationship, she's been dating, I've been dating. It's just a part of the process. So it's not supposed to be quick. That's the thing. So do not get discouraged if it doesn't happen in 1 year. Or if you're in your 30s, late 20s, even 40s, like people find partners at any age. So I'd say really be patient in terms of what you're looking for because your perfect match will not happen on your first go around. Yep. Whether it's your first boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, it may take a couple of different tries to get to your perfect match. So don't get discouraged. It's definitely a part of the process. And those are the top 3 things for us.
Yeah, so keep in mind the 3 most important things is 1, put yourself out there, use social media, go sit down at a park, go to social events, go out and meet people. You can also use Hinge and Instagram on the side if you feel comfortable doing that. Number 2 is
self-love.
Self-love,
that's important.
Loving yourself, understanding who you are as a person, and making sure you're grounded in yourself so that you could have your own individuality in your relationship. And number 3, be patient. It took a really long time for Noah and I to even find each other. Like I was dating, I was like, I'm in these relationships, but is this really the one that's for me? And you just have to wait. You have to be patient because your time is definitely coming. Just keep on working on yourself.
And another important thing is too, when it comes to like dating and relationships and like, one may fail, one may succeed, you're also learning lessons throughout the whole process as well. So it's like with us, it's like we've had partners before each other. But we've also had a lot of lessons we took from those past relationships that we implement into our relationship now. So, it's a good thing that your relationship may not work on the first time or second time because you definitely need a lot of lessons to take into your perfect match that, eventually you're going to get married to. So with us, we learned a lot in our past relationships, a lot. And they all help with our current relationship in terms of how we communicate, which we'll talk about soon, how we fulfill each other's needs, how we just show up for each other in this relationship in terms of effort, everything. So taking lessons from your relationships that don't work out is key for your future success. Always remember that.
Say you found your perfect match in your relationship. You found your partner and you guys are ready to move forward and build a strong and healthy relationship. What are the key things to thrive, again, in love in this relationship? So we have 3 things that we think are most important. For 1 is communication. Communication is definitely the most important thing. Noah and I have worked on that. Still are working on that till this day. Yes, it's the number 1 thing you need in a relationship in order to progress. because it makes you think outside of yourself. It makes you think about your partner, and it allows you to constantly be in tune with each other, whether you're together or not together.
Especially for us too. So it's like she's traveling for rugby at least once a month, sometimes 10 days at a time. And then during my season, I'm traveling too. So it's like communication is a must for us. Like if communication is not there, it won't work. So, and Texas, especially for her, it's like when she's traveling, she may be, 15 hours difference in terms of time zones. So it's like we need to use those 4 free hours we have to communicate. And if we're not communicating, whether it's her or me, but someone will not feel like their needs aren't being met. So I think communication really comes into play with us because we're not always together here in the house. Like it's not as simple as in-person conversation. So through the phones is not the easiest way, but whether it's phone calls, FaceTimes, texting, or whatever the case is, it's not the most fun always. It's not the most affectionate way to communicate. But, we got to just do what we can. So communication really goes a long way for us.
The number 2 most important thing in a healthy relationship is always growing in your relationship. This is the most valuable thing to me personally, because I always want to feel like my partner and I are helping each other grow. I want to feel like Noah is helping me grow more and more, helping me. That's in terms of intelligence, making sure I'm learning things every day, making sure we're teaching each other things. It's mainly about learning for me specifically, but always growing together, understanding what your partner needs to grow is huge.
I think on top of that too is goals too. When you're getting into a new relationship, it's important to communicate what your goals are just to see if they align with your partner, because you never know. You can be compatible, but if you don't have the same goals, then what's the point of taking the time to grow with a different partner? So I think for us, we really made it apparent what our goals are early on. Like we're both athletes. We train in the same place. We both were in Paris, which was a huge goal for 2024 for us. So our goals aligned, and we're compatible ever since. So goals, growing together, all the above, that really is, it goes hand in hand. And I think that's number 2 for us.
Yeah. And number 3, lastly, is prioritizing connection. When you're in a relationship for a while, you start to feel like you already know the person, and you guys feel like really complacent. You may feel like you don't have to do more things to, keep re-sparking your relationship, but that's actually the time you need to do it the most. It's time to check in, play those games you used to play when you first started dating to figure out if your answers have changed, or try new things that you've never tried before. Make a bucket list for the new year. 2025 is the year for y'all to start trying new things with your partner if you're already dating. Make a whole new bucket list of things you haven't done and keep trying to re-spark that relationship.
Keep going on dates. The dates do not end. A lot of people, you'll hear it, you'll see it. A lot of people will do all the extravagant stuff, all the effort to get the person they want to get. And then 6 months in the relationship, it may die down or fall, which may be normal though. But that's when you really have to be conscious of what you're doing and give more effort to really make sure you're keeping this other person happy and yourself happy. You don't want to be in a relationship where you get stagnant and you get complacent. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. So those are the 3 most important things to us. Is number 1 is prioritizing connection. Don't let your relationship die down. Number 2 is communication. That is huge. You need to stay communicating with your partner, no matter where you are, no matter who you are with.
And no matter if you're mad or whatever is going on too.
That's true.
That is very true. It doesn't matter who's feeling what. If you're petty or an argument, communication will dissolve that argument quicker than if you go ghost. So communication on all areas, in all aspects, communicate, talk to the person.
And number 3, growing together, making sure you guys are watering each other. Make sure you're not staying stagnant as individuals or as a couple. So Noah, what do you feel like is something that we've implemented in our relationship that has benefited us the most?
I'd say communication, and not just to be cliche, but Ari will tell you, she wasn't the best texter at first.
That is true. Yes.
She wasn't the best texter at first, but when she realized that, communication for me is one of my biggest needs, and I communicated that to her very early on before we even started dating. That's something I need to feel, like I'm being loved, and that you're showing effort. That's a good way for you to show effort. So that's what I need. And she made a change very quickly, and I think it really put a spark in our relationship, and we noticed that there was a change. So communication was one thing I feel like we definitely implemented, still are, and there's still some areas that, you can always get better. There is no perfect, I guess, place you can be, you can always try and work on getting better. So communication, though, is one for us. What do you think?
I think, like, for that, though, like, when I knew that Noah needed communication, I kind of had to step outside of myself and, like, because the reason I wasn't communicating is because I wasn't used to, like, having a partner to, like, communicate to. So I'm, like, in my own world, literally in my own individual space. And then it's like, oh, shoot, this person is now a part of my life. So I have to think about him and communicate with him and constantly, like, you know, make sure he knows what's going on. So... But for me, it's, like I said, I think mine is growing together for sure. I never want to feel stagnant. I always want to feel like I am...
Going somewhere.
Achieving things. I'm a goal setter, goal getter. Like, I always want to feel like we are moving forward, like, together. So...
That's true. And that's where this podcast even comes in, too. Because
seriously.
this was... I mean, for me, this has kind of been a goal for a minute. But it's just like, you know...
I got the ball rolling.
I got the...
I feel like I kept bringing it up.
I can't co-sign on that one. I can't co-sign on that one.
Really? Dang.
I'll give it to you, though.
I felt like, I don't know. I felt like I kept talking about her. I'm like, all right, so, like, what's next? Like, I don't know.
I mean, sure, but the point is, though, is that this is a goal that, it's an ongoing goal that we always will have, because it's like, all right, the podcast is like, we're making it. But it's like now for 2025, we want our subscribers to be at a certain place. We want our views to be at a certain place. So it's like, one day we want to make money from this podcast. So our goals together, even though like we're dating in a relationship, but our goals will always be present for this podcast. And this is just one thing too. Like outside of athletics, outside of our individual lives, this is a great goal that we have. So growing together is definitely one of the good answers that she could get. But yeah, growing together, communication, I think those are the top two things that we implemented in our relationship to get to where we are now. Okay, so how did you know you were at the point where you found enough self-love to be ready for a relationship?
So for me in college, I was not really dating like at all. I was like talking to people here and there, but I took a lot of the time to like really focus on my studies and like, it sounds super cliche, but I really was like focusing on myself. I didn't care about anything but school and rugby at the time. So I felt like I used those years to really like focus on myself. And then after I graduated, I've already been in one Olympics. So I felt like I've accomplished like a lot of things in my life that I really wanted to do. So I felt like it was my time now to move into like finding a relationship and starting building that part of my life. So that's how I felt like I knew that I was like ready. I felt very confident in myself and my achievements and my accomplishments. And I was just ready for like the next chapter. So then I just like moved here and then I started looking for relationships. I started using apps and like trying to meet people because I never really left my house to try and find love.
So how did you date? Like what works?
I used like Instagram and like Hinge mainly. Those were my sources of...
You found success on that?
Not really. Instagram kind of like I went on dates through Instagram, but like really nothing came about. So yeah. Okay. Mainly Instagram though. How about you? How did you date before we started dating?
So being on a track team, I mean, I really just was around different athletes and different people. So I always knew somebody. Like when you go to track meets, you're on the track meet with what? Maybe 7, 8 different track teams and different schools. Back when I was in college, it's like, even when you go to practice, you're always around different people. So I think that's a very good way to either just get introduced to somebody or just, I guess, start talking to somebody. But yeah, I mean, I've been talking to like athletes, like just different track athletes. And that's kind of the bubble I was in though. Like I wasn't really actively seeking dates outside of, the bubble I was in. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what worked.
That makes sense. I would say the best way is to meet in person. Like that's how me and Noah met. I feel like that's the most authentic way.
Definitely.
Yeah. But how do you think social media affects like relationships nowadays?
I definitely do think it affects relationships.
In what way?
A lot though. Let's just start off. I mean, even as simple way in terms of if someone's addicted to their phone and just trying to just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling when they're trying to, have quality time with their partner, that can definitely affect a relationship. But also nowadays, like when you're on Instagram, certain people will just have a false perception of, I guess, options. So it's like when all you're doing is scrolling on your timeline explore page, and you're seeing all these different people of the opposite sex or same sex, whatever. Then it's just like, I don't know, that kind of just throws off perception. Like, you need to just focus on your partner, and Instagram can really put a false perspective or fantasy of all these options and all these models and whoever that's good looking on Instagram, but it's like none of that really matters. And then you kind of just forget of the person you fell in love with, in the beginning. But I just think Instagram can really just sway perspective like that in terms of options, in a sense. What do you think? How do you think?
No, that's a good point.
Even more, actually. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But I don't want to cut you off. But I say it's easier to do shady things on social media when you're in a relationship. True. Like back in maybe however many years ago when people didn't have cell phones, it's like if you cheating or whatever, like there's only in person, I guess. But now it's like over social media or whatever the case may be, but just if someone's trying to slide in your DMs, then like that's a thing now, or whatever. So cheating is definitely more. It's easier to do. It's easier to do when social media is involved. So that's another way it can affect a relationship, trust even too. So
that's true. No, those are all super valid points. I guess like I don't want to take the side of social media is like good for a relationship because in most cases I think like, is it really good? What is the good value in? Once
you're in a relationship?
Yeah.
See, I don't know why all the cons come. I don't know why all the cons come to my head, but also like a privacy thing. It's like
seriously,
when you're in a relationship, a lot of times people just may not want all their business out on social media, so they may just keep it private. But social media can definitely, I don't want to say expose, but it definitely just like shows the world what's going on, and a lot of people may not like that personal side of their relationship, especially out in the world. So
same, but yeah, like what is the positive about having your relationship on social media? Like,
and shoot, we should answer that.
Here we are
because
for us I think it's more about like the fact that we're Team USA athletes, and this is something that we feel like we can promote and something that we feel like can provide value to people. We feel like it's something that can be inspiring to people. So that's our reasoning for putting ourselves out there, is truly just to like inspire, give advice, and to try to have that positive influence. And also I feel like you don't see enough about relationships that actually last and that are healthy.
Right.
Like you always see about people breaking up after a year. So like creating content that promotes healthy relationships is also important because like you said, people are influenced by what they see online, and like people don't want to be in relationships because they think everyone's a cheater, and like society sucks in this age, and dating in this age in life is terrible. So like I think creating that healthy environment on social media is important for not only us, but like our siblings too, because whatever they see online is probably how they view relationships or anything like that. So just creating a space where healthy relationships are shown and portrayed more is what we're trying to do, what we're trying to create here, both on our podcast and our social media pages as well.
That's true, because there's also a wrong way and a right way to just put your relationship out on social media. Because like, we take pictures, we post pictures, and obviously like the podcast clips, like that'll go on our Instagram too. But like, let's just say we were arguing or whatever, like we're not about to just post a story about some quote when we know it's about the other person. Like or just like different private drama just with us or whoever internally. Like we're not about to just take that to Instagram or social media or post about it, have captions about it, or delete pictures or stories when like we're arguing. Like that's the wrong way to do it. Like that's when people start to know that your business and what's going on. But yeah, I mean, like social media is not the, I guess, end all be all for us, and that's how we keep it a healthy balance. We definitely use it. We definitely post on it. And it's just not that big of a deal in terms of our relationship. It's not I don't think so.
Yeah. So this year in 2025, y'all, we want to challenge you to do your best to use the tips that we have given you, communicate in your relationships, find ways to draw new connections. And not only that, make sure you are growing and always growing in your relationships. So, and if you're single, use the tips that we provided and see if they work for you. Leave a comment down below. Let us know how it goes. And make sure you subscribe to our channel.
Yep.
We'll be back again next Tuesday. Thank you for watching.